Good morning, class. This is Mrs. Schramm. We are going to be talking about the three different main types of dominance that we're going to be looking at during this unit. The first one, if you guys turn please to page 28, okay? So we are on page 28. We're going to be looking at the regular dominance we've been talking about. This kind of dominance that we've been talking about is Mendelian genetics, or Mendelian dominance. And it's referred to that because when Mendel was studying the pea plants, all of the genes were single gene trait. So if we look back to this sheet, all of the genes he looked at in the pea plants were only found on one chromosome rather than being polygenic. This means that it's simple, regular dominance. So in Mendelian genetics, we know, like shown here, we're going to do an example with horse mane color. If you don't know what a mane is, the mane is the hair on the back of a horse's head. So we're going to say that there's two main colors. There's black or white. Which color is dominant? We can see here that there's a capital B, so we know that black is the dominant mane color. Recessive would be white, because it's the lowercase letter. If the mom is homozygous dominant for mane color, what is her genotype? Remember that homo means the same and dominant is the letter we're looking for. So dominant would be capital B. Since it says homozygous, it would be two of the same big letter. And this would give her a black mane because she only needs one big B for a black mane, but she happens to have two. It says, what if the dad is heterozygous for mane color? So hetero means different. So he has two different traits for mane color. Big B and little b are the only two options then. Phenotype would be also a black mane. So what are the percentages of the F1? So again, F1 stands for the children. You can hear my cat in the background. Big B for the mom. Big B, little b for the dad. If you want, you can think of these as sperm and eggs because that's what they are. What are the possible sperm and eggs? And then we're going to put this egg with this sperm, this egg with this sperm. Okay, so we brought those together. And you can see here, we know that the dad's and mom's mane is all black. Okay, so you can color that in. And this is the phenotype that we're coloring in. Now usually these four would be next to each other. I guess the margins got changed. Sorry that the last baby horse of the four is on the wrong line. These four baby horse, this does not mean that these parents have to have four babies. This means that of any four babies, what is the ratio that we're expecting of this mane color? Okay, so a Punnett score does not tell you that a parent or a couple have to have four children, because obviously that you should know that that's not true. What are the percentages of this F1 offspring? You can see here that we've got two here that are big B, so that's 50%. And then two here are big B, 50%, but none of them will be little b. So we will have no white horses. Is it possible for this mom and dad to have any white-maned babies? No. This is regular Mendelian genetics. Now, we're going to look at two examples that do not follow this, okay? So we're going to look at codominance and incomplete dominance. And we use slightly different letters when it comes to codominance. So let's look at that one first. So the definition of codominance is going to be that both the two genes, two different alleles for a gene, are both dominant. So we're going to pretend, this is a pretend mushroom, we're going to pretend that there are mushrooms with purple dots, so please get out some purple, and that there are also mushrooms that have green dots. So we've got some green. And codominance refers to a gene where the two alleles are both dominant. So they both show up in the phenotype of the organism. So in this case, we're going to color. This one is PP, this one is GG, and this one is GP. And for the GP, it has green and purple. We're going to color some spots, each of those colors. Okay, so some will be purple, some will be green. This is an example of codominance. We see this a lot in animal fur color, because I know you guys are aware that there are fur colors of animals that are both show up. So the definition would be that both alleles for a gene trait are dominant. Okay, both show up. Now, notice here, the main thing that we need to do is notice that if we have two dominant traits, instead of using an uppercase and a lowercase letter, we choose to use two uppercase letters because they're both dominant and we both will see them all. Okay, we'll see both colors. In humans, a really good example is sickle cell anemia. Sickle cell is a genetic disorder where a parent will have blood cells, and instead of the blood cells being shaped round, like this is what a blood cell normally looks like, it's kind of like a donut, but instead of a hole all the way through, it just has an indentation. In sickle cell blood, it looks like a sickle shape, like this. This gene is considered codominant, so usually we use an H for this one to represent regular hemoglobin, and over here we use a capital S. So normal human, normal blood would be somebody who's big H, which means they only make this shape of blood. Or we can have sickle trait, which means they are big H and big S, and they make both kinds of blood because it's codominant. So they get some of this blood and some of this blood. Or we say they have sickle cell anemia. And this one is a problem. This is not good to have. You don't want to have this because if your blood is all shaped like this, then this blood can get stuck more easily. It could still get stuck if you're this one too, but this is especially dangerous because you don't have enough hemoglobin to transport enough oxygen if you have this blood. So this one's great. This one you can survive with. This one, a lot of people die before they're 20 years old. So this is a codominant trait. We'll talk about this one more later. Now, let's use sickle cell anemia. And you could draw a little picture to remind yourself. Okay, big H versus big S. Okay, so this is an example of codominance. I'd like you to complete the next part using these cows as an example. You're going to try one on your own there. And then over here, let's look at incomplete dominance. Incomplete dominance is a little bit different. We're still going to use big letters and little letters, but incomplete dominance means that if you have a heterozygous individual, the trait does not show up all the way. So for example, we're going to say red flower color, and the recessive is going to be white flower color. So to represent that, we'll just color the petals green, but leave the flower white. And the combination of these two is not full dominance. So we're going to color the petals pink. Okay, so only some red protein is being expressed. And so it doesn't look the full pigment, the full dark red color that the animal or plant would look if it had two of those genes. Now, because this white is definitely not dominant, it's just that the red is not fully expressing because it doesn't have two copies. Okay, so you might accidentally think this is like paint. Oh, this one's being made, and they're mixing. No, this one, white is not mixing with it. It's just saying that instead of the double dose of red being made, there's only one bit of red being made. And so it looks pink because there's less red present. Okay? So, in this case, we're going to say that the definition here is the dominant trait is not fully expressed in heterozygous individuals. Okay? And so it looks like the genes mix. Okay? Even though that's not exactly what's happening. So red and white make pink. So it's going to be a lighter color of that. Okay? There's many different examples. You're going to see an example here with dogs. So you may have seen before that there are yellow labs, black labs. There's all different color dogs. I'm going to show you a picture real quick. Yellow, black, and brown labs. So you can see right here, this is a yellow lab, a brown lab, and a black lab. And this is a recessive gene. This one's dominant, but it's actually incomplete dominance, because if you have only one copy, you end up being not quite as black fur. Your fur will be more black. And so that's a good example that you're going to do on your own. Labs can be yellow, brown, or black. Okay, so again, this one we do use a lowercase letter and an uppercase letter. Go ahead and finish that up on your own, and we'll be good. Bye-bye.